Yahweh politically correct? And does he require us to be? Hi, this is Barry Phillips with 10-Minute Torah, day number 3, a Torah portion of Naso. Let's go to chapter number 5, where we read something that is, in our modern sense of things, a bit disturbing. Yahweh said to Moshe, saying, command the children of Israel to send out of the camp every leper, and everyone who has a discharge, and everyone who becomes defiled for a being. Send out both male and female, send them outside the camp, so that they do not defile their camps in the midst of which I dwell. The children of Israel did so, to send them outside the camp. As Yahweh has spoken to Moshe, so the children of Israel did. That's not politically correct. Taking the people who have a problem and sending them outside the camp. Well, maybe that's our problem. What's going on here? The camp of Israel has been elevated. As we started reading in Bamidbar chapter 1 and it continued now up through the end of chapter 4, we see that the various leaders of the tribes, the individuals of significance, indeed every man of fighting age has been called by name, elevated, singled out, and acknowledged. We have seen the Kohathites, the Gershonites, the Merarites. These are the Levitical families that have now been acknowledged. They have been elevated. They have been assigned their tasks and their duties. Yah, in doing all of these things, has taken Israel, Israel, as an encampment and elevated it to the place where he now says, I dwell in the midst of them. So let's understand that in the elevation of Israel, this is no ordinary camp. We're not talking about your local community, your residential section, your state, even your nation. We're talking about a particular group of people in a certain location, and they are not extinct, they're distinct. They're most set apart above all other peoples on the face of the earth. This status says that when one is defiled, they may not remain in the midst of the camp to further defile those that are around them. For whatever reason that they are defiled, they are given an opportunity then to move outside the camp, to remain isolated, separated, quarantined until the defilement is over. Then they may return. So the key point here is Yah dwells in their midst. And because of that, we're not talking about an ordinary situation. Now, let's be clear that those who are isolated and sent outside the camp, they are not cut off from Israel. They're not. This is an opportunity for restoration. This is acknowledging the need, examining the need, being set apart in the need, and then waiting for, crying out for, seeking cleansing and restoration. Now, they may have just a physical condition. It could be Tz'ar'at, what we have falsely called Hansen's disease or the modern day leprosy. That's not what that is. It is a physical reality being evidenced in the skin of a spiritual need. The most prominent need being lashon hara, or evil, slanderous, gossipy speech. Their inward spirit defiled the outward man, so they're isolated. It could be that they have a continual discharge of some sort. It could be that they have a social disease. Whatever the situation is, they are defiled, and as such, they leave the camp. This is the requirement because the Shekinah of Yahweh, his manifested glorious presence, has dwelt in the camp, or is dwelling in the camp, and Because of that, the camp must remain set apart. This is not about leaving someone out there. This is about giving an opportunity for restoration. This is allowing someone to come face to face with their need, being alone enough to recognize I genuinely have this need, and then the compassion of Yah to go out to them outside the camp and restore and cleanse them in order to bring them back. Too often and too easily, we just say, never mind, it's all good. Don't worry about it, bro. Come on back. And we reinvite that which is contagious and defiling back into the middle of ourselves without dealing with a core issue. I've seen it over and again. If we want to be politically correct, if we want to label someone's situation as it's just a condition, it's a defilement, yes, but really it's a mental disease for which they cannot be held accountable. It is a predisposition that they gained through an unfortunate rearing in their childhood. It's just how they are, and you have to accept them as they are. Yes, we know that they are prone to acting this way, but the love of Elohim constrains us to overlook it and just welcome them anyway. You can say those things. You can be politically correct about those things. You can free someone up from accountability. And then you should not feel any place to complain when the Shekinah does not abide with you. No, Yah is not calling you and I to be politically correct because He's not politically correct. The political correct movement is about sparing feelings of accountability and the feelings of dis-ease, an unsettling when we have to come to the reality of things. Yah wants us to be real. And sometimes we need to experience reproof. There are times that we need to be rebuked. And the scriptures teach us that when a brother or a sister comes to us and offers that, and it's scripturally based, he's based genuinely on the heart of love. And we've all heard that phrase, you know that I love you, right? And we put up our armor and our shield because we know what's coming is going to hurt. And we're about to be attacked. But you can tell when it's based on a loving relationship. And the reproof, the encouragement to change, the pointing out of error and trying to help is genuine. You know that someone is there to help you when they're there to not just point out the fault, but to walk with you, and they've not discussed it with anyone else. It's when they come to us and say, well, we have been discussing this. Then you know that whatever follows is not good. If they come to you and say, I have seen something and I'm troubled by it, we need to talk about this. Then you can have an open ear. If they're committed to your healing, committed to your privacy, committed to accountability for you and with you, then you know that you can trust and Yah is in this. And so Yeshua demonstrates the other side of this coin. On one side, we have the removal from the camp because the camp is to be set apart and the camp must be pure, and those that are impure and defiled have to be quarantined. It is Yeshua's compassionate heart that goes outside the camp to where there are those that His own word is sent there. And there He offers compassionate healing, cleansing, and restoration. It's one thing to help someone to come to awareness of what their need is, but the responsibility of that afterwards is that you're part of the restoration process, a part of the cleansing, a part of the whole matter and all the steps until they're completed. This is not easy, but it's where we're needing to be. More on this, and tomorrow, the Torah. We'll talk to you then. Shalom.